Today's brunch special is friends with benefits, aka I like you, but not enough to build IKEA furniture with you. Here's the kicker. We're not just spilling dorm room hookup tea. We're breaking down how friends with benefits plays out in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and yep, even beyond. Spoiler, the rules, the needs, and the drama all age right along with us. And honestly, women in their 50s are leading the benefits only, no cohabitation movement, fewer dishes, more orgasms. Tell me that's not life goals. Check.
Welcome to Taboo Talks, Not Safe for Brunch, where nothing is off the table. We're diving into real conversations about sex, relationships, and self-discovery with zero shame and a whole lot of sass.
With over 55 years of combined experience in the intimacy industry and plenty of real life lessons, we are here to break taboos, bust myths, and serve up unapologetic, real world education, one brunch convo at a time.
I'm Coralie, tuning in from Vancouver. I'm a married mom with one foot in the empty nest club. My superpower is going deep down rabbit holes and getting to the real root of things.
And I'm Amber. I'm based in Ontario. I'm married. I'm a mom, a GMA, and proudly blunt. I cut through the fluff and get straight to what matters.
I'm Vicky, and I'm from Manitoba. I'm divorced, re-entering the dating scene. I'm a mom to two grown-ups, and my magic is creating real connection because intimacy starts with trust.
Grab your mimosa, your matcha, or whatever turns you on, and let's dive in.
Okay, let's talk about our 20s. Experimentation, blurred lines, messy feelings. Friends with benefits in your 20s often starts with like, oops, we hooked up. Are we dating now? And that certainly was, when we were young. But I think that might be changing. So we also think about emotional maturity. It just isn't there yet. So the boundaries are more like suggestions. Everyone's navigating and just it's messy and they're trying to figure it out. But we definitely have a situationship culture that's thriving now. Lots of feelings, little clarity, mega confusion. Nobody knows what they're doing, right? Bodies and hormones are just driving the bus, but no one's really sure where it's going. We're just headed in this direction. So let's talk about that. Like, do you guys remember when you were young, when you had your first sort of friends with benefits attempt? What did that look like? Did it end with feelings, drama, bad group chat? What happened?
I've never had a friend with benefits.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I just never had like a regular booty call person. I've been with my husband since I was 20 years old.
I mean, I had hookups and stuff, but not like somebody I would like, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anything, most of the time it would end with feelings. So if it was something that was started as friends with benefits, it ended with feelings with me.
Yeah. I think that I definitely had that. I don't think that it started that way, but I think that it was like super convenient and easy and you didn't have to worry about the feelings. But again, I think that there's so much confusion, especially in this age range where, we're still looking towards finding our person. And I think that at that age, it can get really confusing and the lines are super blurred. And I think that we can get ourselves into some trouble if there isn't some real conversation and clarity around it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So let's jump into people in their 30s. There's, clarity a little bit with your life. Maybe you have a balancing out careers, intentional choices that you're making. So by 30, people have these jobs, their bills. You're adulting at this point. You may even have kids. There's really no time for games. So friends with benefits are more about convenience and less about chaos. So sometimes you might just not be in a relationship and you're like, it's more convenient to just have a friend with benefits than it is to try and date.
Yeah. I was in my first divorce years. In my
Right.
30s.
So you could set clear boundaries this way. I want X, not Y, no cuddling, unless it's pre-approved.
Totally. No sleepovers.
So your fertility clock is kind of ticking at this point. If you are still considering having children, if you want to maybe look into getting into that serious relationship so you can have children, that may be kind of on the docket for you. And then sometimes it's just a placeholder, that friend with benefit, right? Sometimes it's exactly just enough with what you need, with what you've got going on. Maybe you're career focused. Maybe you're just got a lot going on and that's all you really need right now.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean, I can see, if I was single suddenly and decided I wanted to not necessarily date, but have regular sex, I can totally see the benefit of a friend with benefits. But I know for me,
Yeah.
like, I would only want to be friends with benefits if I was their only friend with benefits, not in a relationship, but I wouldn't want to sleep with someone who's sleeping with other people. So it'd be really hard. But I also wouldn't want to be
My
committed.
face, I'm like,
Mickey's like, man, that's what protection's
we're
for.
gonna get to the 50s still. So
Okay, so let's talk about the 40s. There's a reset, rediscovery when you're in your 40s. You could be post divorce. You're definitely going to have a lot more confidence. The older we get, the more confident we get. And, you might be rediscovering desire or even finding new desires. So many people in their 40s, they re enter the dating pool after long marriages that they've exited. Sex is less about proving something and more about just joy and having joy and pleasure in your life. And I'm going to guess if you're getting out of a marriage, you probably haven't had that in a long time. So you need to fill that cup back up. You're also, like I said, you're more confident. So you know what you want. You're not shy to ask for it. And if they can't provide it, bye. But you have a full life. You got your career. You might have, kids that are getting older. You're like chauffeuring them everywhere. You might have aging parents. So having a friend with benefits could seem like the simplest solution. That's what I was saying. Like, I see how it just fits. You still get your need met, but you don't have all the drama,
right.
which sounds great. So, yeah, do you guys think people in their 40s, friends with benefit, is it about fun, freedom, or practice before the next
Yes.
relationship? Just yes.
Yes.
I think it's more fun and freedom, less practice.
Yeah, I think it's more about fun and freedom as well. I think that the more women that I speak to in the 40 plus range, in their 40s, they're still looking, for the most part, from whom I'm speaking with, they're still looking for some sort of a relationshipy feeling, but they recognize that that's not their priority anymore and that they are their priority. And then that's sort of what rolls them into their 50s.
I can see how it would be practice because I've talked to so many clients who, they got out of these long relationships with basically a dead bedroom. So they don't even know what they
Yeah.
like. They don't know how to tell
Right.
their partner. So I can see how it would be practice. Like, oh, I didn't do this before because their partner made them feel unsafe. So they couldn't do those things, right?
That's really
Yeah,
fair.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is an incredibly fair statement, and I think we do hear that a lot, especially in our
right,
business, where women are exploring what their needs even look like at this point.
right.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So, let's talk about the 50s. The golden era of friends with benefits, and I am in it. So, it's a real focus on independence, autonomy of time and energy, sexual empowerment. The 50s, guys, I'm telling you, that's where it's at. So, women in their 50s are leading the change on choosing part-time intimacy over full-time commitment. I think that they have definitely figured out what deserves their energy more. Why? I don't know. I mean, freedom of time and energy, financial independence. We don't want to share our money with anyone. Zero desire to pick up someone else's laundry, change the roll of toilet paper that someone else was too lazy to do, clean up the kitchen after. So, I mean, it's all that stuff, honestly. Your kids are grown, their careers, they're doing their thing. They're probably settled in their own lives because that's what you did. You built these self sufficient human beings to leave the nest. And, finally, you've got some space to prioritize yourself, right? I think that's a really important piece for the 50s. We've talked about this before, living apart together arrangements. They're on the rise. Companionship, sex, but no cohabbing. That that's a whole thing. I think that's a whole thing. And of course, medical advances in longevity mean that sex is still very much a part of our lifestyle. When we're 50s, I don't know. I don't feel 50. I feel way closer to 35, maybe 40, but I do not feel 50. Certainly when it comes to sexual desire, etc. I think that it's really important not to write people in their 50s off. So, research shows women over 50 are more likely to prioritize autonomy and companionship over traditional relationships. And many say that they want sex without the caregiving responsibilities that often come with living with a partner. What do you think?
I mean, I think that Makes
Uh,
sense.
If I'm at that point, I am likely never living with anybody again. Like, if my husband and I ever split at this point, I think I'm already not living with anybody again, but who knows? I don't know,
yeah, that's a
until
woulda,
I
coulda,
was in
shoulda,
that
right?
situation. Yeah.
Mhm. I feel the same way. I can't imagine if something happened to him or something happened between us. I mean, there would have to be yeah, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine
No.
ever living with another human being ever again.
Yeah,
And I mean, do I need a friends with benefits? Probably not, to be
yeah, you may
being
not.
totally honest. I am happy by myself.
Yep,
I still want a
and
baby.
I said that too. I'm like, I said I wouldn't want a friends with benefit either, but I was wrong. So I think that the more women that are coming into their 50s that are possibly separating and divorcing, they're restarting their lives again. I really have an excellent sampling of these women in my life, in all areas of my life. And what I'm noting is that the overwhelming response is I'm okay on my own, but I would like to have my needs met. And the other part of that is when we're talking about men, is that I think men are still looking at these in these age ranges. If they are separating, I think they're still looking for somebody to be in a relationship with.
Mhm,
And I think they're assuming that women want to be in relationships as opposed to a really ethical piece of communication around what a friends with benefits situation could look like. I agree. Sleeping around may not be what I would think most women want to do, but it would be really nice to be safe with somebody that doesn't sleep over. But I do believe that there are a lot of people that just believe that women are looking for a partnership still, and then they're nervous and they're backing up. And I just don't see anything wrong with not sleeping over.
mhm,
Do the things, go home. It's fine.
mhm.
Do the thing. It's fine.
I totally agree. That's what I hear too, is that, the women generally, they're not looking to jump into other relationships, whereas the men generally are. And I think part of that is because at this age, 40s and 50s, you realize like you don't need anyone. You don't need you
No.
can take care of yourself. And a lot of times when we are in relationships when are younger, if it's a stereotypical relationship, like so for me, for example, when I was younger, 100% my husband made was the breadwinner in the family. And not that that was a reason to stay or anything, but I think men get in that mind frame sometimes that I'm, going to make more money. So I'm going to take care of her and she's going to want to be taken care of when we just want to take care of ourselves. And we want to
Yes.
take care of our partners in the same manner that they take care of us. So it's equal and not this unequal
Mhm.
thing. And I think that happens more when you're older that you realize that.
I think you're right. And again, I think that we're moving together in a way. And when you can be in a relationship that is spanned the time, right? You learn and you adjust together and you figure that out as you go. But I think that in something like my situation, when you pull into your 50s single and you're going, what does this look like? I mean, I think that women don't have time for the
Right.
bullshit and they don't want it. They're not interested. And I honestly think that I think it's why, women in their 50s might look at things like ethical non-monogamy and go, "Oh, well, I mean, if that's an open relationship, I don't require any of my emotional needs to be met because I have this incredible friend group. I have this incredible family. Everyone else is meeting my emotional needs. I really just need to have a safe place and person to do the things with, have my needs met, and they leave or you go home and it's not I don't know. I just feel like there's a much bigger gray area there that is being completely ignored.
Mhm.
I also think that there's a lot of stigma and judgment on it. And I also think that a lot of times a prospective partner will look and assume what we want. And unfortunately, they're not always right. And then they move in a direction that the other partner doesn't want. And I think that there becomes a really big disconnect. And I think that's frustrating.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter what you communicate or how you communicate, right? Sometimes people receive information. You've said this before, Corley. They receive information in the way that they want to, but if the message hasn't landed as it was intended, then it wasn't received.
Right. And that can be hard sometimes
Yeah.
because sometimes you're never gonna say something in the way like, someone's never gonna hear it in the way you're intending.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Without asking a lot of questions, but then they don't ask questions.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
make assumptions.
And I think also too, when you're talking about single women in their 50s who've been in marriages and are divorced, if I'm thinking like, oh, if I was single, would I live with someone again? No, because it took so much work to get here. We're so we know each other's, buttons. We
Yes.
know it all. We've been through it all. We've had 30 years of training with each other. I am tired. I'm not going to do that with someone else.
Listen, I have a side story. So I was standing in line at the hostess stand yesterday to get into a restaurant. And there was a new couple behind me who were obviously meeting for their very first date. And they had the most incredibly awkward interaction. It made me want to just tell him, just give the hostess your credit card number and go home and let this lovely woman have a nice dinner by herself. It was so bad. And I was like, I feel so horrible for these people. This is going to be the worst hour and a half of their lives.
What was the
They're gonna
conversation you
hate
overheard?
They literally were in a conversation about whatever. She was Asian, he was Caucasian, and he was trying to make conversation. She said something about, yeah, my family just opened a restaurant. And he goes, oh, Chinese?
Oh,
And she said, no, pizza. And I was like, I want to fucking die for her.
yeah.
I want to die for her. It was so bad. But yeah, I was mortified for her, and all I could think was he needs to gracefully back out and leave. Like something happened, his stomach hurts and he's got to go home. I don't know. I felt bad for her. I did not look in their direction the rest of the evening. I had my back to them, thank God, because I would not have been able to focus on my own company.
Well
I think
done.
a lot of people don't realize that's racist, right? So that's why I think it's
Oh, it
okay
was
to leave
Right.
in.
Or it comes out of your mouth and it's like, oh,
Right.
Yeah, I don't know that he felt that way. I just the entire conversation was super awkward, and I just thought if you've just met, you've walked into this restaurant together, and this is how this started, it ends. It ends right here. Like no one's having their needs met tonight. That's all I can think. All right, not safe for brunchers. That's a wrap on today's Friends with Benefits field guide. Whether you're 22 and accidentally catching feelings, 32 scheduling your hookups around deadlines, 42 celebrating your sexual reboot, or 52 and saying hell no to live-in boyfriends, just remember, benefits are best when you know what you want.
thanks for pulling up a seat at the Taboo Talk Not Safe for Brunch table. If today's chat made you laugh, think, squirm, or all three, do us a solid, like, follow, and leave a review. It's basically the podcast world's version of a good tip.
Want more juicy, unfiltered conversations? Tap the link in the show notes and sign up for our weekly newsletter, your VIP pass to what didn't make it on the air.
Brunch isn't just about the bites and bubbles. It's about showing up real, raw, and ready to talk about what really matters. So until next time, keep it bold, keep it curious, and definitely keep it not safe for brunch.